Another bicycle live stream on Friday, the 15th of April, 6:51 a.m. I've ridden about 34 kilometres, and just before we get started on this morning's topic, I've gone back to using a wired lapel mic, which is what I've used previously for a few years on my previous phone. So we're going to hope that works all right on this new phone, because doing it wirelessly has not worked in the last two live streams. So any feedback is appreciated. Okay, today is referred to as Good Friday. However, it is anything but good. It is a shocking Friday. It is a bad Friday for fish. Every day is a bad Friday. Every day is a bad day for fish. But I want to start off by painting a scenario. If you were to imagine that you're out swimming in the ocean, you're not a fish, you're a person, you're out swimming in the ocean with your family, and you're enjoying the water, you're enjoying the sense of freedom, you're enjoying the ability to move around unaided, and some creature alien to you comes along and basically, I guess you could say, harpoons you or hooks you, or however you want to describe it. It collects you in a net and takes you away, drags you away from your family. You have no idea what's going on. You're in terror. You're trying to understand why they are doing this to you. And they drag you away from your family. And then they pull you out of the ocean, your natural habitat, the only environment in which you are safe, comfortable, can breathe. They pull you out of that environment so that you start suffocating. So you can imagine in that scenario that you would be absolutely, you would be fighting for your life as much as possible. You would be struggling. You would be gasping for breath. Imagine that scenario. Have you ever, and I can personally relate to what it's like to choke and feel like you're choking to death. Well, this would be a similar sort of thing. Good morning, Matt. How's the audio? This would be a similar sort of thing to that awful feeling of choking to death, of this suffocating, of being unable to breathe. And even if it only goes on for, when I had a really bad choking episode, it felt like forever, but maybe it was only 10 seconds or 15 seconds. But can you imagine that going on whilst you're fighting to your last breath to survive, and that you are in this incredible state of terror. And then, like every living being, you are fighting and struggling to survive, like all of us want to do, until finally you can no longer survive in this environment without water, and you meet your fate and leave your body. Matt says the audio is great. I've definitely got to get one of those lapel mics that you have, or something similar. Yeah, the lapel mic I'm using this morning, a wired one. These are about, from memory, it's a special one. It's about a bit over $100, I think, for a pair of them. They can clip into each other so you can do interviews, and then they also have a switch on them that allows you to listen back, so that you can plug in headphones into the mic unit and listen to the audio through the headphones whilst you're recording to check that it's okay. Right, so back to the fish. Back to the poor, innocent, defenseless fish that was just minding its own business when it was taken by someone who selfishly thought that the life of this fish was of less value than their life. So you can appreciate that from the Christian tradition, Bad Friday, and I'm not going to call it Good Friday, Bad Friday is bad on a whole heap of levels. It wasn't a great day for Jesus either. And yet it's celebrated and called Good Friday, which really says a lot about the Christian tradition, that they talk about the sacrifice that Jesus made, rather than talking about the fact that he was crucified by people who, for whatever reason, let's not go down that path too much, but let's talk about the fact that supposedly on this day Christians are meant to eat fish instead of all the other living beings that they allow to have slaughtered every day. Now this really, and forgive me for saying this really gets my goat, that Christianity is founded on a basis of supposedly a foundation of love and veganism. In Genesis, it talks about, the Lord says, see, I've given you every seed-bearing tree, I think it is, and every fruit, seed-bearing fruit, I'm misquoting it, but, and for you, these shall be food. This is the foundation of veganism, this understanding that we are to be consisting on a plant-based diet, and then an extension of that is the understanding that we are meant to be caretakers of the animals, that we have a dominion over them. That does not mean we use and abuse them. It means that we are caretakers for them. And in our absolute selfish desire to feed our lust for animal products, we do the exact opposite of what the foundation of Christianity is about. The other thing is, it is founded on a basis of love, of loving thy neighbour, loving thy enemy, and there is no love to come from suffering. There is no love to come from a decision that your every meal will cost the life of another living being. So when we look at it that way, we understand the conflict, or the way that Christianity doesn't serve its purpose unless it's following the path of veganism. And there are vegan Christians and vegan Christian organisations. So I'm not nailing Christianity to a cross as such, pun intended, but I am saying that a true Christian would be following in their heart what they know is correct, which is to not condone any form of suffering through their personal habits and through their teachings. And with that in mind, we can also look at the Vedic teachings, where the Lord says, if one offers to me with love and devotion a fruit, a flower, leaf or water, I will accept it. Again, no mention of animal products at all. No mention of meat, no mention of dairy. The Lord simply says a fruit, flower, leaf or water. Again, a vegan basis. And yet, sadly, people will justify that, oh no, it's all right to follow a different teaching that's connected in relation to that. So now it's interesting because I'll start winding up soon, so I'll keep this brief this morning on Bad Friday, Shocking Friday. But it is interesting that I was doing last Sunday the Ask a Vegan stand, and I had some really great conversations with people, and I'm grateful that I was given the opportunity at these markets to reach out to people. I'm very grateful, and thank you, Liesl and Johnny, for allowing that to occur. And one lady I was speaking to who was the mother of a vegan friend, and she had endless justifications for why she should keep consuming animal products, despite the fact her daughter is vegan, despite the fact that, interestingly, she knew a lot of the stuff that I was talking about. She was aware of the environmental situation with animal agriculture. She was aware of the health risks. She was aware of the suffering that the animals are going through. She was aware of these things, and when you talk to people, they're educated enough to know these things, but they choose to let their desire for animal products override their compassion. Now, there's no peace we can have no peace within when we go against what we know is the teachings of our heart. So if you're aware that you're causing suffering and you choose to ignore that awareness, you have made a conscious decision to support suffering. And in that conscious decision comes a discord within. Your peace cannot be maintained within. What does that mean? It means that we end up with a society of people that are living out of tune with their prime directive of love and compassion, and because of this they end up in conflict with themselves. And when we are in conflict with ourselves, we then, as an extension of that, end up in conflict with each other. And then you end up with situations like what's happening, sadly, with Ukraine and Russia. You end up with people against people because the lack of inner peace expands outwards. It's a very sad situation, and its root cause is not following the principles of ahimsa, of compassion, of listening to the teachings of our heart. So, on this day, shocking Friday, if you have the opportunity to educate your friends, family, strangers, neighbours about why they shouldn't be eating fish today or any other day, and why they shouldn't be eating any other animals any other day, and why they shouldn't be using them in any other way, if you have that opportunity, follow your inner wisdom to hopefully shine a little bit of enlightenment. And in the meantime, do your best to continue to live vegan and save lives. Thank you for listening. Ahimsa.